If you are a baker, you could be the greatest baker in the world, but if you are baking your bread in a bakery, you are not an artist. You don't have to be particularly good, but if you bake your bread in an art gallery, now you're an artist. My name is Any Cavatorta, and I am a sculptor working with motion and sound and machinery. I like, so John Cage, the composer and mycologist from the 20th century who created so much interesting music and so much interesting philosophy about sound, had always sort of insisted on leaving all the background noise in for any of his interviews, saying like, he's like, everything is interesting. Everything is interesting to hear and to listen to. Maybe not to everyone, but to him. I really started about 20 years ago, learning to use tools and to fabricate things in the real world. How to build robots, how to design circuits. I do all the different types of engineering basically over here. The big inflection point came, I met Björk, the Icelandic singer, when I was at MIT. I got hired sort of into her crew to design musical instruments for her biophilia tour and for the album itself to create music. I just worked around the clock to come up with all the first sets of prototypes for things because I hadn't quite locked it down. She was giving me, it was like a trial period, and she was going to give me a little bit of money. But I knew that if I could make this work, it would carry with it a sort of legitimacy as an artist that would make me feel like I could say I'm an artist and I'm not lying. I had gone on the tour and supported these instruments and stuff like that with her. I started hearing from a lot of ad agencies, creative agencies, because they've been using my work to sell their ideas to clients for a while. So for a little while there was a little boom. There was a big sort of craze about makers 10 to 15 years ago. I was very much in the right place at the right time. I'm able to build more and more ambitious things. I was hoping that there would come a time when the work got a little easier, but the thing that I think I tell some people now when I'm talking to younger artists, and I warn them, I'm like, this might never get any easier. Your work is going to get better and better and better, though, if you just keep producing and producing. We've got 4 sophisticated, beautiful instruments to make, using all of the different musical possibilities that we can find in their chalice. The future is very opaque to me right now because of what's going to happen with AI. Because AI can produce a lot of things very quickly that are reasonably believable, I think there's going to be initially a big excitement about that and a little bit of trepidation. And in the long run, there's going to be a big desire to have works that just have nothing to do with being computer generated. I've been a little bit concerned about what happens to the value of knowledge. I've lived in a world where knowledge is valuable to have, like it will get you things in life. But I feel like we're starting to enter an age in which that's a lot less true. If it's not in your head, you can't use it when you're thinking, and you can't use it when you're imagining things. And Google can't do your thinking for you. But now, unfortunately, Google kind of can do a bunch of your thinking for you. And I kind of don't like that. I don't think it's going to make the world very much better. And I think that what we are destroying to create that is not worth it. And I also think that it is going to concentrate huge amounts of power in smaller number of hands. When I created this piece Whale back in 2022, a lot of these AI tools that are so ubiquitous now, none of them really existed. You mostly had to be a coder to be able to access a lot of that. So to create the 250-year-long song, I used the Python programming language and the TensorFlow system and train it all, write a bunch of code to normalize a bunch of data and train up a big recurrent neural network and then get it hallucinating. Even though I was already a little bit tired of the idea of generative work, I felt that if I wanted to do something that seems fairly current, I should have an AI component in it. This piece is called Whale. I built it in 2022 from the MIT Museum. They were rebuilding their museum and they commissioned me to bring in a piece. I heard a recording of a New Zealand-based choreographer, and she was using these whirly tubes in her works. Those sound very nice. They're a little harsh, and I was thinking a lot about sound producing natural phenomena that we had not yet exploited musically. The things that are mostly undone are things that require either a lot of energy or a lot of precision. To move these tubes very precisely sounds entirely different from like swinging one in your hand. That's what produces these like long, stable, sweet sounding tones. I think that's the first piece I've made that I just like everything about. All the other ones, they're kind of an ordeal, and by the time you're finished, there's a mix of feelings.